Grade 8s, we're going to look at balancing equations. First, we're going to do so using addition, then we'll move on to using subtraction. I'll do a couple of examples of using multiplication, and then we'll do using division. So the first one we're going to look at is x minus 11 equals 20. And we're going to do a good job of keeping our equal signs in a nice vertical column here. So I'd like us to get the letter x all by itself. It's called isolating the variable, getting it all alone. And in order to do so, we can't get at the x right now because there is a subtraction of an 11 there. So in order to keep this balanced, we're going to keep the left-hand side of the equation the same as the right-hand side. We're going to copy it down exactly the same way. And you'll notice I've left a little bit of space because now, in order to get rid of the negative 11, we're going to add 11. And we're going to add that 11 to both sides of the equation. So when we do that, you'll notice here that negative 11 plus 11 will cancel itself out and will give you 0. So we have x and then a 0. So x, again, lining up our equal signs in a column. And then we have 20 plus 11, which gives us 31. Okay, we're going to move right on in to example number 2. And I just want to point out that the reason we call this using addition to balance the equation is because we're adding 11 to both sides of the equation. We're not changing the problem. We're keeping it balanced. Okay, so here's our next one. Here we have n take away 15 equals negative 20. Again, I'm going to write down the equation just the way it was. And then I'm just going to change colors here. We're going to add 15 to this negative 15. That will leave us with the n isolated all by itself. So if we add 15 right there, we have to do to the other side the exact same thing or it will be unbalanced. Negative 15 plus 15 will cancel itself out, and we're left with, on the left-hand side of the equation, n equals negative 20, 20 in the hole, coming up 15. We're still going to be in the hole, so our answer is negative 5. Okay, so that's the first two examples. I'm just going to quickly erase this and do two examples of balancing equations, and this time we're going to use subtraction, which means we're going to need to take something away from our equations. So here's example number 3. Four plus b is equal to 30. We're going to copy it down exactly how we did the original question, but notice I left a space right here. We're trying to get the b all by itself. Unfortunately, we can't get to the b because it has a adding a 4 in front of it. We all recognize that there is a invisible addition sign in front of that 4. It is a positive number. And so we're going to take away 4 from both sides of the equation. That will make sure that positive 4 take away 4 will disappear. And so on the left-hand side of the equation, we will only have b. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we have 30 take away 4, which gives us 26. I'll do one more of these sorts of questions. Number 4, x take away 16 leaves us with 5. As you can see here, we're trying to get the x all by itself, but we can't because it is attached to a subtraction of 16. So if we add 16 to both sides, you'll notice that this one disappears, it cancels itself out, and we're left with an x on one side and 21 on the right. So that is adding and subtracting to balance equations. We'll do 4 more problems. So the next one is called using dividing or division. And we're going to look at number 5. And we're going to start with something simple like 2x equals 16. And just to verify here, you know that right here where my hand is, there's the invisible multiplication sign when two things, a variable and a letter, are side by side. And so in order to get the x all by itself, right now it's multiplying by 2, we're going to do the opposite, which is we're going to divide by 2. That can look a number of different ways. You could literally just stick it in like that on both sides. But I also wanted to show you that it could look like that. And we've divided by 2 on both sides. Now the next step is that 2 divided by 2 will leave us with 1, and 16 divided by 2 will leave us with 8. So all we're left with over here is a 1x, and we don't write 1x like that. Proper notation would be x is equal to 8. Okay, number 6. Our next step in this, boys and girls, as we go into the next lesson very shortly, will be to combine equations where we have more than just adding or just subtracting or just multiplying. You might have to do both of those things. So I've got one more. This is number 6. 6p equals 30. We're going to take 6p and 30 just like it is, and we're going to divide by 6 on both sides. I'm just using a different color to show you that you have to do the same to one side that you do to the other. 6 divided by 6 will leave you with 1. And so on the left-hand side of the equation, we end up with p equals 30 divided by 6, p equals 5. Okay, so we have one last kind that we need to tackle at this time, and that is using multiplication. Okay, number 7. So, the one we're going to start with is x over 3 is equal to 4. I want to show you off on the side here that this is the same as seeing it like that. And some students find it very obvious when they see something like that the x can't be isolated yet because it is being divided by 3. So if we multiplied by 3, we would get 1x. I just want to show you that this is the exact same thing. It just looks a little bit different. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the question down exactly as it is. And then we're going to, instead of dividing by 3, we're going to multiply by 3. And I could have written that right here in front. I could have put 3 times. And we're going to do the same on one side of the equation that we do on the other. 3x divided by 3 leaves us, if you multiply by 3 and then right away divide by 3, you've really done nothing. 4 times 3 is 12. And I have one final example to go through. Number 8. Number 8 says h divided by 4 is equal to 15. As you can see, our h over 4 is blocking the h from us because it's being divided by 4. So we're going to multiply by 4. You could have written that 4 over 1, doesn't really matter. But whatever you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other. H times 4, 4h, divided by 4. The 4's cancel out. You're left just with an h. 15 times 4, well, we know 15 times 2 is 30. Double that, 15 times 4 is 60. So now we have done balancing equations with adding, subtracting, dividing, and finally with multiplication. Have a great day.